And welcome to 2 Minutes to Target, and this the third in the Anatomy of a Shot series. And in this video, we're going to be looking at Mirage, and more specifically, how Mirage can impact your ability to both see the target and therefore get impacts on it at ELR distances. Now, the genesis of this video was from a trip I took with my friend Ron about a year ago out to BLM land in the Nevada desert to scout for shooting locations. And this time of year is a weird one where I live in California for ELR shooting because the BLM land where I normally go is closing down for fire season, and the passes through the Sierras haven't opened back up again since winter. And even if the passes are open, chances are you're not getting very far off the main roads because the Forest Service roads probably look like something like this, which are pictures from a trip we took a few years ago, and this one was in July. So fast forward to this year, my friend Ben is going to be back in town and wants to shoot some ELR. It's end of April, can't go to the hills, can't go to the mountains, so where are we going to go? Well, it's off to the desert. Now, one of the things I love doing is learning while I'm having fun, and I got to say that one of the things I learned is that Truckee, north of I-80, is a beautiful place. This is just outside the cabin we stayed. I also learned that Truckee is still up in the mountains. It's up in Donner Pass, and it gets snow, and this is what it was like in the morning when we headed out toward the desert. And this weather followed us all the way down, well past Reno, and all the way until we turned off of I-80 to this gorgeous dry lake bed out in the middle of nowhere, which was our shooting location for the day. Now, I checked before I left, and you are allowed to drive on dry lake beds on public land, provided you're not doing it when it's wet, you're not tearing it up, etc. Just be responsible. Now, this is a map of the lake bed, and our shooting location was right about here. So we drove out to set our target, drove all the way along the edge of the lake bed, set our target, drove all the way back, and going back to the map, this is about where we set it, and this was about at 1,860 yards. Unfortunately, before we could get set up to shoot, this hit us. Now, it had been kind of cloudy when we got there, and then the sun came out, and then it was dumping rain. But you know what? This blew through, and eventually we were able to get set up. The thing is, when we did so, this is what we saw through the spotting scope.
What I don't understand is how there's this much mirage with zero sun.
Because we just heated up this big massive body of sand when there was sun.
I guess.
And then we brought in a bunch of cool air. So it's rising, it's convecting through it.
I mean, dude, the mirror image
It's cool.
it absolutely is insane. I mean, absolutely insane. This is just nuts. I gotta zoom out a little bit. And just try and get I mean, I can't really get a pano, but like, holy cow.
Now, this was the image through the spotting scope, which was like 3 feet off the lake bed. This is what it looked like through the actual rifle scope, which is less than a foot. And when you zoom in on this, look at that target. That's not a round target. It doesn't look like one. That looks like a pill. Can you imagine trying to hit that? Well, we did try, and it really didn't work out so well.
Yeah, dude, I mean, this would be a miracle.
Yeah, there's shot one. Can't even see it. There's shot two. You're not going to see that one either because anything that hits below where that Mirage line is, you're just going to lose it. Now, we could have moved to one of the berms that was near us and sort of up and out of the Mirage. But, you know, where's the fun in that? We wanted to figure out what was going on here. Remember the whole learning while you're having fun thing. So we decided we were going to move the target from this 1,860 yard location to something that was a little bit closer so we could see what was going on and was a little bit further up on a berm, try and find a higher berm to get it out of the Mirage. And we found just such a place at about 1,000 yards out. So we plugged it all into the Applied Ballistics app, and it came back with about 6.7 mils of elevation and between 1.2 and 1.8 of windage. And when I dialed that into the rifle, took the first shots, this is what happened.
Right underneath it. it's maybe like 4 inches to the left, but otherwise right underneath it. You need to go up by a whole target in terms of wherever you aimed. Right in front of it. Dead center, right in front of it.
Okay.
Probably only like 4 inches long.
So you just heard me say it. I shouldn't be missing by this much at 1,000 yards. Regardless, I ended up adjusting up by 0.4 mils to get on target. Ben adjusted another 0.1 and shot a string after I did.
All right, so
And here are the results.
I mean, I'm pretty happy with the vertical on this. So these shots all here are Ben's shots, all these high ones. All my shots were the ones that were down here. And if you look at the vertical, my shots were coming in at, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 inches, 4 inches. Ben's were all up here and coming in at similar things, 4.5 inches. He adjusted up before he shot because I was down on the bottom half of the target. But, you know, I'll take I mean, again, we got this right to left. The wind is squirrely. You can see it in the Mirage in the videos. But I'll take a 4.5 inch vertical at 1,000 yards. I mean, that's sub half MOA. Very happy with that. And we're going to do this one more time. Spray this and get a blank target, and we'll try it one more time. All right, lower left.
It's about 8 o'clock.
Yeah. I'm not going to adjust. I mean, I think the wind dropped. I take that back. I'm going to adjust for windage. 0.2. I think the wind dropped. The Mirage is not nearly as heavy. Good vertical. Oh, that one went high. No good vertical. That was actually a really hot round. 28.51. That's 25 feet per second.
Yeah, that's smoking
actually
hot.
35 feet per second more than the average. So that was a very hot round.
Almost the same spot as the first shot.
Yeah, and that was back on 28.18.
Almost the same spot.
Same spot. Oh, that missed left.
Just off the left edge.
Yeah, you know what?
You're swinging left and right now.
There's no, I mean, almost the Mirage is almost dead.
Yeah,
Like,
if you
the
look
wind
right,
just
if you look
completely
real
dropped. I'm
low
gonna zero
where
out
those
the wind.
reflections are, you can actually see the Mirage going the other direction.
I think it's kind of swirling.
Yeah.
All right, so let's stop this and go into some analysis. So first off, I'm going to put a dot where the miss was off to the left. I'm not worried about the miss. I was already left side of the target. The wind was squirrely left to right. What I care about is the vertical here. The other thing you might notice in this is that there are a couple of new elements in this video versus the one we just showed, which is one is we had put a vertical piece of wood over here to the left, and we had put another horizontal piece of wood over here to the right. Why? Because we wanted to show that the mirror image is still in effect. This one on the right, you can see the mirror down here. This one on the left, you can barely see it. It's a little bit muddled, but you can see it here. This bush, you can see down here is mirrored. You can see this line is mirrored here, and you can see a little bit of the target down here. And this puts the mirror line right at about this location. All right, so I'm now going to put a reticle on the target, and this is roughly the size. I added this in afterwards. This was not looking through my scope, but it is roughly the size. And what you're going to notice is that, with the exception of my one hot round, all of my shots are about 0.2 mil low. And this is after I have already dialed up from, remember, the original setting of 6.7 mils. I've dialed up to 7.1 mils. So I've already dialed up 0.4 and I'm still 0.2 low. That's a total of 0.6 low from what the solver's telling me I need to be. That's about 10%, just shy of 10%. Call it 9% low. So what is going on with this? Well, this is what we're going to go through now. So to go into this a little bit deeper, we're going to put together a really simple diagram showing a shooter and a target. And for the shooter to see that target, light has to hit the target and reflect off. And it'll be reflecting off in a bunch of different directions, but the light, as it relates to the shooter, is coming off of that target and going straight into the scope and then straight into the eye of the shooter. And that, again, is how they can see the target and know it's there. The question I've got for you is the target really there? Well, of course the target's there. I can see it. I shot it. You saw me hit it, etc. But is it really where you think it is? And this gets now into the concept of refraction. And I think if you're shooting the ELR, you probably, you're one step up on the intelligence scale anyways. You probably know what refraction is. But just to review it, refraction is when light is traveling through one density of material, hits another density of material, it either speeds up or slows down. And when it does that, it's going to change direction one way or the other. And this is exemplified if you have ever done spear fishing or bow fishing, or even if you're just wading through the water and you see a fish in there. You will see this fish, and the actual location of the fish in the water is putting out light. And in a normal scenario, if there was no water and air difference, that light would go straight into your eye. The problem is that's not what really happens. What'll happen is, in the heavily dense water, that light ray goes up, it hits the boundary between air and water, and then it's going to change direction at that point because the air is dramatically less dense, and then it goes into your eye. And then your eye thinks, and your brain thinks, that it's really just along that line that you were looking at, and the apparent location of the fish is here. And this is why they'll tell you in spearfishing, bow fishing, whatever, that you always want to aim low, because your fish is actually, your target's actually going to be about 1 foot low for every 4 feet of depth that it's at. So now let's take a look at that shooter again. In our case, we were sitting on a dry lake bed. That dry lake bed, we got there, it was a little bit sunny, the sun was warming it up, and you ended up getting this temperature gradient because the air at the base of the lake, at the surface of the lake, was warmer because the lake was heated, and that air is less dense. And then as it raises, it cools, and that becomes more dense. Now, in our case, it was even worse because it rained after we got there. So it was hot, and then it rained, the air cooled down. The air cooled down more rapidly than the lake bed cooled down, and so you had a much more aggressive temperature gradient there. And I might be mistaken, but I think Ben said that.
Just heated up this big massive body of sand when there was sun.
I guess.
And then we brought in a bunch of cool air.
Yeah, pretty much. So let's take a look now at what this means from a target perspective. This is almost identical to what you see in the fishing scenario, except it's sort of reversed because the more dense stuff is up top and the less dense stuff is at the bottom. And so the light rays are going to change direction as they travel from that more dense cool air into the less dense hot. Now, you're not going to get this immediate angle change like you get with water because of the gradient. So what it's going to look like, if let's go ahead and put the target, the actual target location in, is the light rays coming off that are going to go down into this temperature gradient and slowly curve into our eyes. And if you extend out that angle from what we're looking at, it looks like the apparent location of that target is, guess what? Lower, which means if you're aiming at the apparent location, you're aiming beneath the actual target. And in my case, that ended up being about 0.6 mils. I hope you learned as much from watching this video as I did making it. One of the most important things I hope you take out of this is our public lands are absolutely amazing places, and the desert's no exception. It's my favorite place to go now. But, you know, public lands are there for us to use, but they're also there for us to protect and take care of. So always police your brass, pick up your trash. Second is that the target isn't always where it seems to be. Now, this was a pretty extreme situation, but if it's happening here, it'll happen to a lesser extent in other situations as well. And then lastly, it just reinforced that ELR is my zen. Every time I go out someplace like this, I get out into the hills, and now, you know, more and more getting out to the desert, I come back a better person. I come back healed and refreshed, and I absolutely love this stuff. I hope you get the same feeling from doing it as I do. Now, that's it for this video. If you liked it, please subscribe. Actually, it's almost it for this video. If you like it, please subscribe, hit the like button. I'm going to finish this up with the tail shots of that string I was shooting, and wait for the end, because my last shot of the day was an absolute doozy. I'll catch you next time on 2 Minutes to Target.
Okay, same spot again. The Mirage on this camera actually looks like it's moving right to left now.
You think it's moving right to left?
On this camera, it looks like
Just
that
a
way.
bit. I'm going to hold a little bit to the right side.
Yeah, I think it's actually moving right to left. Yeah, you're more centered there. You're at the bottom, but you're dead center. That's like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, look at that Mirage. I mean, it is swirling. I mean, the wind just, I mean, dude, we were blowing 50 miles an hour not 10 minutes ago.
Nice.
Same basic group.
Dead center, just about.
So that one went a little high. That was a little hot, 2834. You know what? That's barrels hot. It's just heating up. It's going faster. I mean that's a pretty good group. I'm good with that. Let me take one shot. Let me take one shot at the piece of wood.
All right.
It's raining.
Hey!
I hit it! Oh, dude!